Hi, it's Claire here, and I am going to show you very quickly how to get up and running with IdeaPlane at MBAM and RAID. Um, IdeaPlane is an enterprise social network, which means that it's basically like an amalgamation of Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, but for use within the confines of the enterprise, in our case, MBAM and RAID, although they are two separate enterprises. We are using them under one instance, and we're beta testing this. So you're going to find that it's not perfect, but all feedback is welcome, and well, just as long as it's constructive. The point of using it is that social networking, if you're not already aware, enables you to collaborate across space and time in a much more effective way than email does. You don't have to worry about who's been CC'd on the email and who hasn't. As long as you are posting things in the relevant groups, then the people who are part of those groups will see what they need to see, and they can comment on anything where they've got something to say. And it ends up being a much faster, much more personal way of getting ideas down on paper and collaborating on them. So I hope you find that is the case. I definitely do. So first of all, login screen. To get here, all you have to do is put in raid.ideaplane.com. And you will have, in the first instance, your username is your email address, either your RAID email if you're with the RAID group, or your MBAM email if you are with the MBAM group. Your password will be RAID in all caps, R-A-I-D. And that is something that you will be able to change in due course, but for now, just leave it as RAID and keep it simple. I'm actually going to log in as somebody else in that I've set up a test instance here just to take you through what it will look like for you too. Okay, the first screen you get when you log in is this quite confusing, sort of blank looking screen. Don't worry about it. It's a legacy from the first large enterprise installation that IdeaPlane did at a big bank, and they required an extra step. But just click on sign up, agree, continue. And next, you need to update your profile. Now, I know the temptation is not to post a picture of yourself, and you may well not even have one handy, but I highly recommend finding one and posting it, because it, as strange as it sounds, it actually makes a really big difference to the way people relate to you within the social network. Even if you are Tom Cruise, people will be more likely to comment and talk to you like you're standing next to them if they can see your picture. Don't worry about tags for now. Don't worry about really any of this information. Don't worry about the fact that it says you work for IdeaPlane. Obviously you don't. But go ahead and press continue. And the first thing it'll do is suggest some contacts for you. And those will be based on the group that I've put you in at the outset. So in this case, I'm in the MBAM group, and these are the suggested contacts for me. If you're in the MBAM group and you want to connect to Neil, for example, you'll be able to do that. You just have to search for him, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to skip this actually, so nobody gets an email saying that Joe Schmo wants to connect to them. And then in due course, we would have a list of broadcasters that you could subscribe to. Those are like Twitter handles, basically, people who are sort of broadcasting their thoughts, and anybody who's interested can follow them. Right now, we're not really using that. And this is your home screen. So it should look pretty familiar in that it's just a bunch of status updates. So, you know, what you're working on is in my case, doing a demo of IdeaPlane, I share that. And this is where I would be sharing my just general thoughts of what I'm doing, and anybody who I'm connected to will see my status update in their newsfeed, in their home screen. You can see on the right recommended groups. Actually, these groups are split between MBAM, systematic book groups, and RAID groups. And I'm actually going to change the name of these ones to say RAID as a preface, just to keep it simple. But if you go to create group, you can see it's pretty straightforward to create a group. There are three options in terms of how secure that group is. Open means anybody on the network can join the group. Closed means people can see the group exists and they can see who's in it, but they can't see the content. And secret means they can't see that it exists, and they obviously can't see who's in it or the content. If we browse the groups that exist already, you can see I've already created a bunch of them. A group is effectively like a bucket for a conversation. So the MBAM systematic book has a bunch of groups that have been set up that are prefaced with MBAM-SB. Simon is currently the owner of all of those, and I'll leave it to you guys to add more or change owners or whatever you want. But please do preface them with MBAM-SB just so that we keep things straight. And today I've made all of those groups closed, in the sense that we can see they exist among the RAID people, but we're not watching what you're doing in there. We could do the same for RAID, but I don't particularly see the point at this stage. And so each of these groups is really there for having conversations about the particular area in question, and collecting ideas, in often Hilton's case, but also in anybody's case, and commenting on them, and it just really helps keep everybody on the same page. You can see how to join groups. I'm not going to take you through any more detail. The search box up here is about finding people, but it's also about finding groups. So that's pretty straightforward. And I guess the only other thing I would say is that this latest version of IdeaPlane that we are on has reply to functionality in email. So every time, if you're in a group and you want to, it defaults to send you an email every time somebody who's in the group posts something. But you can change that, obviously, if you don't want to receive emails from people in that group. But I suggest leaving it alone. And what happens is you get an email that says, Neil has posted a bug and here's what it is. And you can reply directly to the email. So you don't have to go into the IdeaPlane site in order to comment. And that is extremely helpful. That said, you can access IdeaPlane on your mobile just by using the URL raid.ideaplane.com. And I mean, on mine, I've created an icon on my mobile home screen. I know you can do that with iPhone and Android. I'm not sure about BlackBerry, but I can't imagine it's that hard. Anyway, we will figure it out as we go. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch with me. Feedback goes in the IdeaPlane feedback group. And that will go straight back to the company. So, any constructive feedback is helpful. And good luck with it. I hope you find it as useful as I do.